Alright, we are live and we have Vinayak with us. And Vinayak, now, the goal is I'm just gonna show you this empty screen
Right.
and I'll dive into it, whatever you're curious about.
What I'm curious about. Okay.
And this is your laptop for the next whatever
Time we
minutes and
take.
whatever hour. So just hold it as if this is yours.
As if it's
This
mine.
is your
Okay,
thing
this
now.
is my laptop.
Yeah.
Hello to anyone that's watching. I wanna. So give me something to work off of if you don't mind. In the sense like what am I asking a question? Am I because
What is something you can't stop thinking about?
that I can't stop thinking about. I cannot stop thinking about mangoes. Okay. I've always wanted to try the Thai mangoes. I thought they're really good. But yeah. On a serious note, that could have been a serious note though.
It's whatever you're curious about. If you're
Yeah.
actually curious about it.
Are Indian, are Malaysian mangoes better than Indian mangoes? I wonder what it says. This is a very subjective thing. I don't know the AI would come with an actual answer for me. Neither is objectively better, but it really comes down to what flavor profile you're after, and they're quite different beasts. Indian mangoes have a long control. Oh, that's a lot. I'm gonna read quite a bit. I think Indian mangoes are better. Fair enough. There we go. The AI knows now. Okay, let me think of something more profound that we can talk about. What I've been thinking about over the past few days is about my relevancy in the. What is that? Oh, I can talk into this. Okay. That's so cool. Alright, let me just do that again. One of the many things that I've been thinking about over the past few days being at NS. Should I have said being at NS? It's a live stream, people might come find me. I'm not at NS. I'm in India. Is that I have been questioning my relevancy in the modern day, with the state of the world, AI taking over with all these models coming out, things that I used to pride myself in doing over a few days of creative work have been stripped of that into a mere few seconds. 4 years of grind, 4 years of study, 4 years of hard work for what is what I start to think. And what a lot of creators in my field are probably thinking right now, So I'm at a crossroads in my mind where I'm trying my best to, be humble and also not be ignorant, to embrace this new technology, but I also kind of want things not to change just because as an artist, the reason I chose to do this was because of the actual process of doing. And when the AI comes and takes away the process of doing, what am I left with? Send. I wonder what the AI thinks. It's really thinking. What do you think about all this?
What do you think?
They're grappling with something real and existential. Fear that AI will hollow out the meaning of their artistic practice. Years of dedicated study. The joke about okay, not a sign. Still matters when the process is not done. Wow, that's a nice. Okay, well, I don't know what it's doing. Thinking your message. You chose this because of the process of doing, not because of the art. Yeah. Hold on to that because it's actually the hinge that whole fear turns on. The thing that AI is generally good at taking is the output. The finished image, the deliverable, the thing someone would have paid you for. What it cannot touch unless you hand it over is the experience of making, the hours of attention, the problem solving, the particular way 4 years rewired. But I don't want to be glib because there's a real loss in here and it deserves to be named honestly rather than smooth over. You're actually grieving two different things at once in that one time. One is the economic and social for a long time. Being able to do this in a small group, few people could. The scarcity was there. The income came from, and a lot of pride and identity too. I'm one of the people who can make this scarcity simply eroding, and it's fair to mourn it. It's a real thing being lost and pretending it. Sit here and push back gently. I was never actually conferred by scarcity. Recording exists. People still learn piano. Better painters than any of us have always existed. People still paint in their kitchen at night. The doing was meaningful because of what it does to you, not because no one else could do it. That part isn't actually challenging, but unless. So what am I left with? The thing you started with, the reason you said yes in the first place. I'll be honest about my position here because it's I'm one of the things causing this vertigo for you. So take this from what's worth coming for me, but the one-eyed shift generally when generation gets cheap, judgment gets expensive. When everyone can produce 1,000 images, the scarce and valuable things become which one is good, what's worth making it all and why. That's the part 4 this training actually built, even the eye, not the hand. You're young enough that this is hitting you near the start of the mid-career, which is its own particular kind of goal. The ground shifting before you even plant your feet. What's the future? So I guess it's trying to reassure me with the fact that even though all this is there, it's telling me the trained eye is better than the millions of generated images that are out there, which I can agree with, and I can confirm that it definitely. I mean, even I feel that learning the fundamentals of any skill has been more important now than ever before. But again, I'm not trying to argue with it. I'm very that is true. But what I also see nowadays is that mediocre has become the new bad. Does that make sense? In the sense that because of a lot of the AI that's come out, a lot of businesses and a lot of companies are cool with the mediocre because they don't know more than what is mediocre, right? So they're cool with whatever the AI comes out because it works. To my eye, it doesn't. But what you're paying for then is a premium of, the artist coming in, which companies aren't willing to do. They can save a little bit of money, right? So at least my job right now is to be so good that they kind of want that, and they don't want to settle for mediocre. So yeah, that should probably be the goal, to still get better at the craft despite and offer like a supremely high level of quality in terms of work. Yeah, that's great. But a nice thing that actually has happened over the last few days is being surrounded by all the tech bros. They come and treat me like I'm a little unicorn because they've never seen anyone that does what I do. So I've gotten some really, really interesting conversations going because of that. And a lot of people seem to think what I do is super cool, which I'm glad. I'm super glad. And I really hope that I can provide to them something with what I know and what I can do. Sorry for rambling, chat. If there is a chat, I'm sure there is. Uh, what about you, my friend? What do you think about all of what I said just now?
Would you like to know how other people have dealt with that situation in the past?
I would love to talk to people who are facing the same thing that I'm doing.
Ask how have other people in the past have dealt with a similar situation.
So, in the 4 to 5 years that we've lived in the rise of AI since 2021, how have people who do the same thing as me, which is animators, illustrators, designers, sculptors, filmmakers, and the like, how have they dealt with the rise of AI and the effect that it's causing to their lifestyle, to their jobs, their earnings, to their self motivation to keep doing this as a job? Go. Also, this mic is great. The mic is picking up so well. What has actually happened to the real people? Pull together what's known rather than speculate. Give me a moment to dig into the actual data. This is rich. Let me get the labor organization and legal side. That's how artists themselves describe copying and coping, but not copying. Now, the most human part of your question: how individual artists describe coping, adapting, and staying motivated. Let me look at the first-hand accounts and the lawsuits. Let me get the legal flag. Okay. By the way, for anyone that might be watching, if you haven't already figured it out, I am an animator, illustrator, sculptor, many things within the umbrella of animation. Do a lot of, at least I think, cool stuff. Here's the honest picture from the last few years, and I'm going to give you both the grim parts and the generally complicated parts because the truth is messier than either artists or rooms or it's all fun. The measurable hit is real and it's not small. In the UK, Association of Illustrators surveyed members in early 2025 and found over 32% had lost work to AI, averaging about, that's a lot of money, for affected artists. A 2024 Society of Authors surveyed found 26% of illustrators had already lost work to AI, and 37% said illustrate work had decreased in value because of generative AI. In animation, the collapse is stark. US animated series commissions peaked at 2022, 25, and 21. Fair, okay. Economic study commissioned by the Animation Guild and Concept Art Association found that 3/4 of entertainment industry leaders said AI tools supported eliminating, reducing, or consolidating jobs. Nearly 204,000 positions projected to be adversely affected over 3 years. Concept artists, storyboard artists, VFX artists, and entry roles were flagged as most exposed. One concept artist in the reporting described an ad company that had quickly stopped hiring him after adopting AI, and a game studio art director who admitted to having no concept artists on staff at all. So no, you're not imagining at all, and you're not being dramatic. People in exactly your field have lost income and watched entry points dry up. But the aggregate data is murkier than the anecdotes and honestly requires saying so. 2026 Gallup analysis using Census and Bureau of Labor Studies found that earnings trends looked broadly similar to less exposed ones, with a modest earning bump in 2023. In other words, at the macro level, the arts haven't collapsed, and many working artists use AI rather than only being displaced by it. The catastrophe is real. Oh my goodness! There we go. While the other fields has been more resilient than doing narrative suggests both things are true at once, in which one you feel depends heavily on where you sit. I've actually fought back. 3 things stand out. The first is collective action. 2023 strikes a substantial body and the one concrete guardrail. The writer's deal starts that AI isn't a writer and its output isn't a literary material. Barred companies from forcing writers to use AI and required disclosure on materials for AI are developed. The actor's contract required clear consent and minimum compensation for the use of digital replicas of performers. That's fair. Video game actors and motion capture artists then struck from. Oh, I remember when this happened. A lot of video games that I played myself, you would see when the you would play the game, you could hear some voice actors from characters that would speak normally, but randomly when the other character would start speaking, nothing. And you just have the subtitles. Well, mostly because there was no actor to do the voice, and you couldn't just hire another actor because I think a lot of them were on strike, and they like a lot of them said no, we're not going to do it. That's quite nice. Video game actors and motion artists struck from July before, and that strike was suspended in June 2025, and the agreement ratified in July 2025. Again, centered on AI consent and compensation. The lesson a lot of creators drew: the protection didn't come from individual talent; it came from organizing. The second is the courts. With the picture shifting in artists' favor, at least on one front. In the big artist class action, a federal judge ruled in August 2024 that visual arts, including salons, a lot of people, could proceed with claims that Stability AI, Midjourney, and DeviantArt and Runway infringed their copyrights. The case wasn't thrown out and moved into discovery, and a ruling with real symbolic weights for seas. Wow, that's a lot of reading. Pass. People who got hit the hardest instead didn't do it alone or by outproducing a machine. They organized, they litigated, they specialized into what's distinctly human, and they protected their own reasoning for making it. 4 years weren't for the output a model can mimic in seconds, they were for the eye and judgment that decides whether the output is any good. And that's the thing, this is the whole period that's been quietly making more scarce than less. So I guess the thing to take from all this is, I think the craft, a lot of people need to move forward from the actual doing, the actual like training of like having a good eye. People I think need to be moving to more directorial roles as opposed to the blatant production of like the hard labor, because that's being done already. But again, I'm still conflicted, in the sense that as much as I do have a good eye for all this, it's still the doing part that I kind of want to do. But I get it, businesses want things to be done quick. They want as fast as possible. And I kind of like, I myself drew like a line from my personal and production. Because like in personal, you're doing it for yourself. You can not use AI if you want. You can do it yourself in practice, but even in productions, sometimes you're going to need to buck up and use the AI to get stuff done. That's cool. I'm indifferent about this. I'm not against the use of AI, but again, what I'm unhappy is I miss the doing, and I don't want to live in a world going down the line where I don't do the thing at all, because that's part of the fun. I don't want to sit and type a bunch of stuff in the computer and have it like, because what I've also noticed is that it's AI, just like the AI now, which is you don't have control. Let's say I wanted a certain character to move a very certain way. There are a bunch of AI models and stuff that are covered that display really, really good animated work. It's honestly really nice. You can't even tell. But at a certain point, you kind of want control over a lot of things within what you're generating. Bigger scenes means bigger elements within the scene, and bigger amounts of time to correct small little things that you might want changed, which means using a lot more tokens, which in fact leads to spending a lot more money, which could all be kind of fixed if you just had control of everything and change everything at once. Like I could change the color of an apple that's sitting in the thing. I could also change the material of the basket that's in the other side of the room. I could do all that relatively quickly without having to wait for the not really sure how long it takes to generate a video of a scene. I've never really tried animating an entire scene with AI before. I really haven't. So I really don't know how long it takes. Guessing it's a lot just because it needs to come with all the frames, it needs to make everything, right? It's probably not quick. Also requires a lot of electricity, which I'm not willing to pay. So yeah.
Would you like to know some quotes from some popular artists, designers, animators on specific quotes that they have said about the situation?
Could you pull or cite very specific quotes from animators, illustrators, designers, musicians, and anyone in the creative field that's had their work affected by AI? Speak about, or like a few lines as to what they said they feel about it and how they want to move forward. I did not click the I didn't click the type button. I can just say it again.
Oh, I forgot the shortcut for when you don't click the cursor. Anyways,
That's
go
fine, I
ahead.
can do it. Could you cite quotes from artists, illustrators, animators, designers, musicians, and anyone in the creative field who is facing what I'm facing right now and what they have to say about what all creators are going through? Very specific quotes, please. Okay. I wonder what people have had to say. I wonder if there's any other people watching me that feel the same way as I do. Or they're just calling me out. Use the eye, bro. If I am going to be a streamer, I need to be a little more entertaining. I need to fill in the gaps. Oh, but we got an answer right now. Concept artist and illustration. Carla Ortiz, concept artist whose work shaped Marvel films like Black Panther and Doctor Strange, testified before the US Senate in 2023, and her line could be yours and almost word for word. I have never worried about my future as an artist until now. She told the committee she was horrified at how much unauthorized use of her work had appeared through AI and described it as a technology that uniquely consumes and exploits the work of others. In an interview, she noted the quiet way it spreads on 3 productions as she worked on. AI was used at the concept stage and cut her billable hours, which she called alarming. Another working illustrator in the same reporting of discovering her art had been scraped into training sets, put the gut punch precisely. It feels like we are being replaced with our own labor. But human has taken on charge new meaning for her. She now sees an existential threat from a medium that is decidedly not human. The most famous statement in your field belongs to Hayao Miyazaki, shown an AI animated figure. He called it an insult to life itself. And the part people quote less is why. His objection was that whoever made it had no understanding of pain, no lived experience behind the image. He added that he felt humans were losing faith in themselves. Guillermo is, I learned that that's how you spell the name. Apparently, double L is pronounced J in Spanish. I didn't know that. Guillermo de Toro stood with him in nearly the same words, explaining his own position. I consume and love art made by humans. Here's what I want you to notice about the spread of voices. The despair clusters around one thing, and it's not the machine is better than me, it's the violation of consent and hollowing out of why we do it. Miyazaki on pain, Azaria on heart, and her on human made. The illustrator on being replaced by her own labor. Almost none of them are mourning the loss of the output. They're mourning the threat to the meaning of the making. Which is what meaning of, which is exactly the thing you put in your finger on two messages over, unprompted before you didn't read anything. And it's what holding the full range, honestly. Otis says repeatedly she isn't against the technology, only against it being unfair and unethical. Plenty of working artists have folded it as a tool. People like Derulo think the fear is premature. The field is not of one mind. But the specific ache you described 4 years of grind for what, the purpose being the reason you chose this, it's not a primitive malfunction in you. It's the single most common thing the best people in your line of work are saying into microphones right now. You're in a very, very loud, serious room. So yeah. Yeah, I was going to say something to make me happy, but I guess if people are saying that too, we're all on the same boat. What do you think about all this?
It would be cool if we go deeper into tell me what people have said about the meaning of making.
Oh yeah. What have these creatives spoken about the meaning of making? What I mean by that is, like we've just discussed, it's not the outcome but the process of making. What have other creators and individuals said about this? That's my phone. Excuse me. If I could be close to you, oh no. These Mac cameras are so good, by the way. What the heck?
Yes.
Just putting the charger on.
All right. Perfect. Thanks, man.
This is the harder thing. You've been circling, and turns out people who've thought hardest about AI converge on exactly your insight. The act of fact was never really the point. Here's what people have actually said. Start with Nick Cave because he addressed your precise question in writing. When a fan kept sending him AI lyrics and asked what's wrong with making songwriting faster and easier, Cave's answer was that the difficulty is the thing. That is true. I mean, even when I'm working, it's not like everything goes completely breezy. It is difficult.
Now wear your glasses.
Huh? Wear glasses?
Yes.
Okay. Here's some cool blue light filters that we've got, guys.
Yes.
Look at that. World is so red though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was saying, even when I'm working, it's not like everything comes out easy. If anything, I get so frustrated sometimes because it doesn't come out the way that I kind of look and saw it in my head. And I guess you get that dopamine hit of like, once it does look like exactly what you want, that's when you're like, oh yeah, the look of like. And when, like, especially when you hit the space bar button when the animation plays and it plays right, that's with the timing and spacing and the shot composition, everything looks right. You're like, yeah. You like, I've jumped off my chair and like happiness and been like, But yeah, so that's kind of what it is. It's like the difficulty is things. Songs, he argued, arise out of suffering or the complex internal human struggle of creation. Algorithms don't feel data doesn't suffer. He described what's lost when you skip the struggle is the malfunction of the human spirit, the mechanizing of the imagination, which renders our participation in the act of creation valueless and unnecessary. And then the line that answers you most directly. He said he's a songwriter engaged at the very moment in the messy, blood and guts of business of writing, and that the work requires humanness. In a later letter, he went further, saying, even though the creative act demands enormous effort, it's in our resilience to keep making beautiful things despite our own smallness that the meaning of life actually resides. The effort isn't the obstacle to the meaning, the effort is where the meaning lies. 100%. You ever see that interview with the guy who made Suno? No? So, he described, like, the reason he said he made Suno was that people don't enjoy making music anymore. And what he went on to further describe was it takes so long to learn how to play an instrument. It's difficult to write lyrics. It's difficult to compose. So people don't enjoy it. But like, no, I don't think people don't enjoy it. I think people, like, once they learn the instrument and can actually put this thing, I think they actually, again, I think people, like, when they say that, right, they don't understand the one thing, which is just because we say that we enjoy it doesn't mean that we're on cloud 9 every single second of the production process. We're not on cloud 9. We're thinking, we have like creative blocks, we need to walk around and really like figure out what to do to make it amazing, right? But after all that figure out, when it does look amazing, that's the part that we enjoy. The handcraftedness. At the end of the day, like, it's also still a job, and we also the difficulty is also in the added pressure that we want it to look good, we want the music to sound good, we want it to look good, we want to write something that means something, or so I think that's something that a lot of modern people just don't understand, maybe, that yes, the process is difficult, but just because the process is difficult doesn't mean we don't want to do it, because there is meaning in the process, which is a lot of what we just ran through, right? Ted Chiang, the science fiction writer, he defines art as something that results from making a lot of choices. A 10,000 word book story being in effect 10,000 or the tens of thousands of small decisions, each carrying intention. His claim about why a machine can't substitute for that is almost clinical. ChatGPT feels nothing and desires nothing, and the absence of intention is the absence of the very thing that made the act art in the first place. Not what this means for you. Specifically, the value he locates isn't in the finished image, but in the thousands of intentional choices that only happen inside a person who is making. A prompt collapses intentional choices. No, wait, a prompt collapses those thousands of choices into one. The making is where you exist in the work. It's very true. So your fear stated exactly was when the AI comes and takes away the process of doing, what am I left with? And the honest answer these people would give you is that it has the relationship backwards. The process was never the cost you paid to get the artifact. The artifact was the byproduct you got from the undergoing the process. AI can take the byproduct. It has no way to take the undergoing, the soul growth, the becoming, the humanness, because that was never in the file you exported. It was in you the whole time and it still is. That's not a constellation prize according to everyone of them. It's actually the thing that the entire time. So this is kind of where, when we talked about this idea of contrast, right? Which is all of like contrast. Yes, that's a design fundamental that makes things interesting, but how do you implement it, right? The every you make those micro decisions as to how fast something needs to be or how slow something needs to be in music, in animation, in art, and everything. You choose where things go. You choose how fast emotion happens. You choose which part of the song are more intense and more chill. You know. But the AI is so linear and all that because it doesn't know where to put what. I mean, is taste math? Do you think taste is math at the end of the day? At some point, because I was thinking about this as well, because I was talking to one of my science buddies, and he was like, "Vinay, your entire personality can be like simplified into a vial of enzymes and hormones. Your entire personality can be recreated by a bunch of enzymes and hormones. Your stress levels, your dopamine levels, your everything. You could be your personality is a vial." And I was like, "Damn, is that is that where personality all is from?" That's a really sad way of looking at it. But it's also fact, right? That is sort of where people's personality comes from. But it's also like experiences, right? People's personality comes from experiences. Like a guy that's been surrounded by super happy people, super creative people is going to be more creative than a kid who is like, I don't know, war torn somewhere. He's not going to think like. So two very different like frames of thought. Personality can be built by experience. It can also truly be a bunch of enzymes or hormones in your head. That's an interesting way to think about it. But yeah, so those decisions that the decisions that you make in these careers are also based on your personality. I'm a very avid believer that I think anyone who was given the same prompt or the same thing to do, let's say make a song, with the same influences or the same personality, that they could be two clones of each other. And I think the likelihood of them making the same song would still be like, not zero, but would be very different songs. Let's say like I was cloned, I had to do an animation based off information I was given. It would probably be two different films. Just because ideas might conflict. You have different ideas of ways to execute things. Even in my head, when I'm turning something in, like I'll have multiple versions that I can't decide upon because I think they're each really good. So one guy, like, he might pick the other one and he might pick the other one, which is like super cool. Which is the experience. It shapes the decisions you make, which shapes the process, which shapes the outcome. Damn, art is deep. Art is deep. But the tech bros are fun too. They do appreciate it. It's not like they don't appreciate it. They were talking to me and like genuinely interested in everything that I had to say. They were interested in how I do stuff, how I work on stuff, and like what I think about the current state of things with AI and all that stuff. And I was like, I just say, what can you do? And I just got to be better, That's fun. I've been rambling on for a bit. You want to chime in and say anything, mate? I've been rambling.
This is your stream.
Huh?
This is your stream.
It is my stream. That is true. I'll talk about Malaysian food.
What would Nietzsche say about this?
I want to talk about Malaysian food. Who's this?
Do you know Nietzsche?
I don't know who that is. Who's that?
It's a German philosopher.
Okay.
Every guy reads Nietzsche once in a while.
Okay. What would Nietzsche say about this? Would he have liked animation? Also, I don't get why they're actually red in color. Do they need to be tinted red in order for blue light to be filtered out? Because I had a pair just like this that were clear, and they still do the same job. I wonder why these are red. It's just aesthetic. Qantas
It's
is red.
aesthetic, yeah.
Qantas is red.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the aesthetic. And it's pretty cool when you remove this.
Everything is blue.
Everything is like a weird color. It takes a little while to adjust.
I should not do color stuff with these on
Why?
because they completely change my perception of color.
That is true. That is true. I was afraid too.
Wouldn't confront you. He'd sharpen the knife and hand it back, but that's exactly why he's the right person to ask, because almost everything you've said is inside his territory. Start with your for what. The question for years, the grind for what is what Nietzsche called the confrontation with nihilism. What's nihilism? You know nihilism?
Nihilism.
Nihilism. Okay, what's
Nihilism basically means when you start thinking there is no meaning to life and you lose all the interest or momentum because you think that there is no meaning to this life.
right?
You get into like a, it's like thinking that, understanding there's no meaning to this life and then going down in a negative circle, in a vicious cycle, versus thinking there's no meaning to life, then then I can make my own meaning. So then you go to a virtuous cycle. That is a different thing. Balaji! I'll just get his voice.
Yeah. I wonder if people can see this.
You like it?
I like seeing myself. I wonder what else I could do. OBS is very cool. I tried using OBS once for. I had a project where I was responsible for there was like a local cricket tournament in our area, and we had to do on-screen live display of the scores getting updated and everything, and we had to use OBS because it was a live streaming platform. But I later learned that it's not as easy as it thinks, as I thought it would be. You had to make a custom tool that would update the scores and stuff like that. So OBS is cool.
Yeah.
And he thought it was a defining experience of the modern person. His famous line, "God is dead," was never a celebration. It was a diagnosis of vertigo. When the thing that used to generate your values disappears, the ground drops out and you're left staring at the for what. Here's how he reframed your specific version. An idol of yours has just died, not God, but the belief that your worth was guaranteed from the outside was scarcity by being one of the few who could do this, by the market paying you for it. The belief was a kind of God, and the machine just killed it. Night's response to a dying idol is not mourning, it's good. Now the real task begins, because a value that was handed to you from outside was never yours and was always going to fail you. The collapse is painful, but it's clarifying. Then he reaffirmed the conclusion you reached on your own, process over product, but he grounded in something harder than Vinayak soul growth. For Nietzsche, life itself is will to power, not domination, but the drive to grow, to discharge strength, to overcome resistance and become more than you are. Creating is the purest expression of it, and notice what that means. The value of making was never in the made thing, it was in the overcoming, the discharge of your own force against difficulty. The machine can replicate the residue of that overcoming, the exploded fire. It cannot perform your overcoming for you, but because the overcoming happens in the one who strains against the resistance. Take the resistance away, make it faster and easier, and you haven't helped the artist. You've robbed him of the very thing that was making him strong. The struggle was the nourishment and not the toll. I mean, I think we've gone over a lot of the same sort of. This is words being repeated again, in the sense that the process is the process and not the product. And actually, was a cool dude. He knew what he was talking about. That's good. Nick Cave seems to be doing a lot of stuff. I've seen his name come up a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Nick Cave, you know Nick Cave? No? Nick Cave, he's been doing quite a bit of stuff. Cool. I know I'm sitting so silent right now, I'm just processing a lot of things. Yeah. I shouldn't be processing this on stream. People might get angry.
It's okay.
Cool. So, I'm curious, how does this turn back to the thing that we were talking about earlier, flow state of. Huh?
This is it.
This is it?
This is it.
Oh, okay.
It's a practice. It's not a one-time thing.
Right.
You have to do it every day. It's like meditation. You don't get into flow state by reading about it. You don't get into flow state by just doing it once. You do it every day. And now, if you actually set this up on your device,
Right.
and you have this conversation going where you start with a blank page on Claude. You start by talking about what you are thinking. Then you're like, I'm curious what this person said. Then you use Claude, then you use AI. Then you read that, and then you again talk, then you explore, and then you're like, now I have an idea. Now you open your software and you start building. And if you want to live stream, you can live stream that as well. And you're live streaming the process. Because what is it all about? It's all about
The process. The process is great.
So the goal for you next time is do it on your computer.
Yep. Might try the Instagram live thing. Might be fun because people would actually just click on and see what I'm doing. That'd be fun.
That's it.
Get pointed at my computer and people can see what I'm doing.
That's it.
That'd be fun. Yeah, thank you for this.
How do you feel?
This is a 2 a.m. state of mind to be in, not not in the middle of the day at 5 o'clock. This is more of a 11, 12, 1, 2 p.m. state of mind to be in.
We pretty much went for 1 hour. It's like 50 minutes.
What? We've been going for an hour? That's crazy.
And that's what flow state is about. It's like, okay, ask it. What is flow state?
What is flow state, and how can I get it as an artist? I mean, I know what flow state is, being completely I mean, I'm gonna delete everything. I did not frame that sentence at all. Do you stammer a little? Do you say stuff when speaking?
I?
Yeah.
I think you can tell if I start.
I know. That's why I asked you, because you don't seem to stammer. And what I learned with stammering is that your brain is thinking really fast, but your mouth can't keep up with it. So, like, you just need to think slower.
Hey man, I'm about to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So like people just say like think slower, and you won't stammer. but I yap too. So I mean I thought it would like cover up for it, because I speak fast and I think faster.
What's the definition of yap?
What's the definition of yap? Rambling. In other words, rambling. Okay, not rambling, but just like continuous talking. You know? That's yapping.
So the answer is
Talk less.
contrast.
Oh yeah, rate of speech.
The the most interesting principles that you learn in your work in animation, apply that as a philosophy to life.
Yeah. Natural design. Yeah. Contrast. Slow down. What is flow state? How can I reach it better as an artist?
It all started with Malaysian versus Indian mangoes.
Malaysian mangoes. I mean, they're great. Also, just out of curiosity, when I went to the pharmacy yesterday, they had like over-the-counter stuff, not actually like medically prescribed stuff.
They had all the
They had like over-the-counter, like normal, like strepsils type, just pills that you could take for like, but not like medical prescribed stuff, like paracetamols or like or for like anti-diarrhea, stuff like that.
right.
They didn't have those specific like pharmacy medicine. They had like medicines that you can take like if you're feeling like.
Right.
Good. I feel like I went to a different place as opposed to what you mentioned.
Okay.
Because in your head when you said pharmacy, it was like it had like a plus symbol
Yeah.
with like a a pharmacy symbol, a medical symbol.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure about that. I must have been a flow.
Flow is the missing piece that ties this whole conversation together. It's the actual felt experience of the thing Vinayak and Cave and Nish were circling. Let me give you both the concept and practical how-to. The term comes from psychologist. That's a name I never thought I would read in my life.
Mihai Csikszentmihalyi.
Okay, who spent decades interviewing painters, climbers, surgeons, and chess players about their moments. What he found was a recurring state he named flow. Total absorption in an activity where the work seems to carry you rather than the other way around. Its signatures are consistent across every field. Your concentration narrows completely onto the present moment. Action and awareness merge. You stop feeling like a person doing a task and become the doing itself. The inner critic, the self-conscious voice asking, is this any good, goes silent. Time distorts. 4 hours vanish like 40 minutes, and crucially, the activity becomes its own reward. You do it even if nothing came of it, which is almost word for word. Yeah, that's true. I have days and like sometimes the art is like meditation for me, like but that's usually when like the I feel like the flow state comes from the part that's after the creative part, because you actively need to think on the creative part. You need to make decisions, think on the creative part. So what I would describe as flow state for me would probably be when you've got the figuring out done, and let's say I have to animate like a 5-second shot of a character doing a particular thing. Once I know what I need to do, the action just happens, and that's where like 5 hours just go by, and like I can just be doing this for like a long time, and it's just like just happens, and I'm done, and like, oh shit, it's 5 a.m. Did you ever see the movie Formula One? You know the last part when he drives to the finish line, the last section of the race, like sound goes out, he stops hearing, he's just looking at the track, and he's just flying up the other thing. I was like, I know that feels like, it's so cool.
This is very beautiful. We were just talking about it on the stream a couple of days back.
Yeah?
The entire movie is about flow state.
Yeah?
Okay, what is he talking about? I actually remember taking a note about this. That what he's talking about is this.
It's rare, but sometimes there's this moment in the car where everything goes quiet, my heartbeat slows, it's peaceful, and I can see everything, and no one can touch me. I am chasing that moment every time I get in the car. I don't know when I'll find it again, but man, I want to, because in that moment I'm flying. Yeah. I love this line in the movie as well.
The entire movie is all about flow state.
Yeah, there are constant distractions, but there are times that I'm sitting with my laptop and drawing pad, and I've just got not songs but music. The songs are distracting. Music is just there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you're just okay, next frame, next frame, next frame, next frame, next frame. But it breaks the flow when suddenly something doesn't work, and you're like, oh, okay, wait, I need to fix this, and then it breaks you out of the flow because you actually need to start thinking again now. But what do you think? You think flow state can happen with thinking?
Just think.
Because my flow state sounds like a very robotic manual thing. Because even when he's driving, it's not like he's just driving. He needs to take the turns at the right places. He needs to, not let the guy behind him come in front, right? But it's there is a certain degree of thinking that does happen. But I don't know, my flow state, what I'm saying is actually flow state or just manual labor. I wouldn't know.
So flow state involves skill and challenge. If your skill is really high, but the activity you are doing is very...
Oh, it's Balaji.
Yeah. But the activity you are doing is not very challenging, then you get bored.
Right.
If the challenge is really hard, but you are not skilled enough, you will become anxious. So the goal is to find the right sweet spot. That activity is the perfect skill and perfect challenge. So it is always an activity that you're doing. It is an activity you're doing, and the challenge is good enough, just right for your skill level.
That is true. That makes sense. But I look for that every time I start working, I honestly look for that. I want to drown out the sound, just focus on the thing. And that time where hours just flow by. Because I recently I've not got very much, and I've always thought when you're having fun, you're playing a game, you're actually you go to your friend's place, or you do something fun, or watch a movie, or go and hang out with a certain person, or your girlfriend, or your boyfriend, or a friend, or you're doing an activity that's super fun with your people, and you're 2 hours are already passed, and you're gonna go home in 15 minutes, and oh man, time just flew. Obviously I don't want time to fly. I wish I had more time to do work. When time does fly, I'm I wish time would fly, because I associate time flying to I was super locked in, So I don't know, that's not happening, and I wish
you're chasing flow.
I'm chasing flow. I'm chasing what flow reignited passion. Because past the time you just get burnt out, I'm doing this a lot, and the stress of a lot of things, and you just get burnt out, and I want that to go away. I want to go back to having fun with this, Because I remember in university, it's a very hard question. People will sometimes come and ask, if you have to do it from zero again, would you do it again? And I have I question myself, because a lot of my peers and a lot of people who did art, they were of course I do it again. It was so fun. The process of learning art was so fun. But it was fun. But sometimes in my head, it was also very difficult. The hours and the hours I had to grind all night, just practicing for years after years after. I don't want to go through that again. But also I did have fun with it. So it's a weird mental dilemma, So do I really love what I'm doing? Because if I don't love what I'm doing, I should want to do the start from zero thing. But it's a weird clash of. That's the rambling.
This is it. We're talking about this idea that we all are chasing stimulation. We all are chasing pleasure. The difference is most people are chasing cheaper pleasures, like smoking, coffee, alcohol. It's all easily accessible. The richer pleasures, the higher pleasures, like flow, like the euphoria and when you feel when you are meditating, all these stuff requires a lot of upfront cost. To achieve flow in an activity, you have to put a lot of effort to be good in that activity before you start feeling immersed into that activity.
That's true.
Like if you look at I don't know if you watched the Taipei 101 climbing, the rock climber Alex Honnold, who climbed the Taipei 101 live without any harness. So all he's talking about is flow. He's like, I only climb because of flow, because that's when, if the challenge is right and I'm really skilled, I get into this state and I'm always chasing that. And there's also danger. Flow state also requires danger and certain amount of risk. The reason I get into a flow during stream is because we are streaming this. So you have some sort of reputation risk. You some sort of feel this, okay, the world is watching, so I have to perform to the best. So similarly for you, like to achieve flow, you have to introduce certain degree of risk or danger.
What do you?
It could be a deadline, or it could be simply streaming.
Streaming.
Yeah. So now you have people are watching you. You're performing now.
That's going to be really poor content in terms of like engagement, because if you're in flow state, you're like block out the silence and like don't talk about anything and just like
exactly.
Like
this is the reason why YouTube is really good, because you will find people who are really aligned with your content. On Twitch, you will find a lot of people who will start messaging in the chat.
You know, in my head when I visualize flow, it's like, like when a horse, horses when they're like racing horses, they do like a thing where like they put like pads on this and they just look forward.
Yeah.
That's what flow state is like. Nothing on this side, I can't see this side, I can't, just the screen and my friend, the canvas and what I'm working on. That's just it.
Yeah.
Just me and thinking and working.
Yeah. And it would be really helpful for you to maybe also start reading quotes. Use AI. You don't have to read books, but use AI to read quotes from the best artists in the world whom you look up to, or just get introduced to new artists. Because there are a lot of feelings that you feel while you're working, and these people have already felt that, and they have operated at the top of their game. So it really helps you understand and learn better. Actually, who's your favorite artist right now?
Oh, my favorite artist, he's a Japanese director. His name is Makoto Shinkai. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Just go quotes from
Japanese anime film director Makoto Shinkai on the process of creativity, how he thinks when he's working, the struggles and the successes.
You got the name right?
Makoto Shinkai, yeah.
This is the flow chart we were talking about. The challenge and skill has to be just right.
This guy Makoto Shinkai, he made this film called Your Name. It was, at the time when it came out, I think like a global phenomenon. Like, it just looked so beautiful, the story was great. Again, whether it was great or not is subjective, but I thought so at least. And I was in my room watching this film, and like by the end of this film, like something just clicked, like there was no doubt in my mind that I was like, this is what I want to do for a job. Like there was absolutely zero doubt, no doubt. Like something just snapped. I was like, oh shit, this is what I'm going to do. And that was like, in retrospect, looking back on it, I think that was a little reckless. I think we should have, but I don't know whether it was naive or not. But I'm glad I did it. I'm doing it. And like, but it's weird because any other thing that I had to do in my life, like you had to like think about it and like, but this was like a snap decision. Something just after switch this clicked in my brain, and yeah, that's great. Never had nothing that I've done like I haven't had a moment like that again, which is a shame. I don't know if it's a shame, but nothing else. I had to if I had to make a decision on something, for many other things I had to do, I haven't made a snap decision like that with such clarity and like yes, I haven't made a decision like that in a long time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
It doesn't happen every day. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
no, but I kind of want to get that again. I want to be able to feel that again. Being so 100% clear on something. What is super bra? Oh.
Grok is just faster, and they don't really give a shit about copyright issues.
Okay. Makoto Shinkai is a Japanese anime filmmaker known for his visually stunning works like Your Name, Weathering with You and Suzume, which blend romance, disaster, loss, and emotional connection. He often discusses his creative process, drawing on personal experiences, everyday life, and a drive to capture fleeting emotions and human bonds. On the creative process and how he thinks while working, Shinkai emphasizes starting from personal ideas and emotions, then iterating with feedback while maintaining control. He writes his own screenplays and storyboards, a hands-on approach uncommon even in Japan. On developing ideas, I think it's really important to not only take advantage of these tools that you have at your disposal, but also to take the time to develop ideas within yourself and think about what you have to animate, and then you can use these tools to create what you want to create. On early inspiration on making things, around 10, his parents bought him a computer instead of a Nintendo. So I had to actually program my own little tennis game on the computer so that I can play it. So that was when I realized I like making things. He later worked on game cinematics, which felt like making short films, and built his skills. On a solitary to collaborative shift, early works were solo. When I'm making it alone, there's less stress. What I imagine and intend, I draw and it comes out. Larger projects involve stress from communication, but allow greater results. When you're working with a group, there's tremendous stress, but the outcome can exceed my limits. Detailed workflow. He writes drafts alone, sharing producers for over 6 months, up to 5 to 6 drafts. Then storyboards solo, another year, with feedback loops. Once the storyboard is set, the story rarely changes. He creates a full cinema animatic with his own voice acting and sound references for animators. On speed and relevance, as soon as I have the idea, I need to create as quickly as possible because it's what's going on in society, and that's what connects me to my audience. That's true. He mines personal sensibilities deeply. When I work on my films, it's like I'm mining the potential around me. If I keep digging, I might just dig so deep that I create a tunnel that connects to the other side of the world. On struggle, Shinkai is candid about self-doubt, comparison, technical challenges, and emotional tolls. Comparison to masters. Miyazaki has great talent, but I really struggle every time I create a new film, and I'm far from Miyazaki. Early limitations and persistence. He started with basic tools like Photoshop. I didn't really have anything special, no special tools at my disposal. That's really how I started. He stresses completing work. The most important thing is to complete the work. I believe that there are things to learn only after the completion. If you give up, you won't learn anything. That is so true. Like the amount of projects this you just need to finish it, whether it's good or bad, and like emotional and thematic struggles. His stories often explore isolation, distance, loss, and mourning places. From his novels, films, perhaps it's a bit dramatic to say, but I'm struggling against life to live. And reflections on wedding. Production challenges, animating rain on blending 2D and 3D. It's really hard. Success brought over. The scale of Your Name is so massive that I'm totally over and I'm not really comfortable with it. It was a great movie. On success and reflection. Success, especially Your Name's massive hit. This film is amazing. If you have the chance to watch it, you should probably watch it. There's a reason it's mentioned so many times in this article. It's one of his best movies, and I think I hope he makes a better one. I hope there's something better that comes after this. Your Name's success told me movies still have the power to connect with society. As a medium, it still has power that resonates. He aimed for broad emotions so audiences leave smiling. Creative freedom and collaboration with bigger budgets. The gave me total freedom. I feel I was able to do more. Feedback improved structure without compromising vision. Broader resonance. He focuses on personal stories rather than global appeal, yet they connect universally. I don't set out from the start to make good movies. Instead, I call my own personal sensibilities. Wise and outlook. Keep a young heart and emotions. He evolved from melancholy-focused earlier works to balancing happiness, sadness, and comedy. Success reinforced making personal, emotional, rich films. Shankai's process blends solitary introspection with targeted collaboration, rooted in capturing real emotions every day. Beauty, human connections, and impermanence. His reflections highlight discipline, adaptability, and the joy of creation for deeper devices. Check interviews and film. Okay, sorry. But yeah, he did a lot of stuff by himself. Like he had a lot of the stuff is him making a lot of his stories, writing his own stories, writing his own stuff. He's a great guy. What I really like about the visuals of this film is it's like beyond life, you know. Like it takes a gloomy day like today and turns it into a really visually stunning gloomy day, you know. He animates rain like you can I don't know if you've seen a shot. I would love to show you one of the shots if you want to see them right now. But I don't know if we can with the live streaming thingy. Huh? What? Like, oh. What do I?
Just say.
Okay, wait. Examples of Makoto Shinkai's rain scenes in his films.
Or actually.
I don't think these stills are doing it justice though.
Okay, actually, let's end the stream.